Vibe so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your man Wise. Welcome to A Righteous Perspective, man. I hope all is well. I hope everybody's doing well, man. Happy Thursday to you guys. This is Friday Eve. Friday Eve, man. Goodness gracious. The week is flying by, to say the least. To say the least. What's going on, T.A. Caskey? How you doing? What's up, Eric Smith? How you doing this evening? I'm about to say morning. Goodness gracious, like I hadn't been up since 5 something this morning. But the grind must go on. All right, man. First things first, man. Shout out to CB Wright, new ARP family member. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining the ARP family. It means a lot to me. And I appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. You know, we got a great show for you guys. A couple little preliminary stories, and then we'll get into the main story. And then I will drop the link for the call in. Do not be shy. Ed, I seen you down there talking about you were shy. Hey, pull up, man. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. You know I do this on a day-to-day basis, so I've kind of gotten used to it. But there was a time when the nerves would hit, you know, before jumping out there like this. So, but I do appreciate you guys pulling up. Let me know where you guys are watching from in the chat. We do have, looks like 29 people in the building right now. So please make sure you hit the like button. That is the best way to support the stream. And, you know, if you feel so moved, super chat, super thank, cash apps, buy me a coffee, all that kind of good stuff. It is in the, there's a way to support the channel. And some of that stuff you'll see down in the description box below. Man, we got a great show, man. Obviously, Trump did something that hadn't been done since Ronald Reagan. I was a youngin'. I don't think I was paying attention to really what was going on politically in 1985, but we definitely got to talk about that. You know, I appreciate you guys. When I dropped the separate video just to these sanctuary cities, and you know, got some pretty good feedback there, man. So that was pretty dope. Like I said, call-in show today. That will be at the end of the show. Today, I will drop the link once that time arrives. Please make sure that, if you do call in, if you want to have your cam on, you can. If you don't want to have it on, I'm okay with that as well. I do ask that you, keep it PC, speak your mind. I won't censor you, but I do ask that, you keep it respectful and keep it clean. I try not to curse and things of that nature. That's just not the type of language that I like to, present. And honestly, I don't even talk like that, in my regular day-to-day life, to be honest with you. And, so I do ask that you guys respect the stream and respect the platform in that way. We're going to get things kicked off here in a second. But before we do so, I just want to let you guys know that this broadcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Lear Capital. Let me be brutally honest with you all. Our American values and financial system are under attack right now. You need to act fast and learn alternative ways to invest. That's why I trust Lear Capital for buying gold and silver. In today's volatile economic and political climate, precious metals can protect your wealth. Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and more than 3 billion in trusted transactions. Here's what I recommend. Call Lear Capital today. 800-489-6450 or visit learrp.com to request their free gold and silver investor kit. You can take possession of your metals, store them, or even roll over an IRA or a 401k into a gold IRA with the same tax benefits. Plus, they're offering up to $15,000 in bonus gold for qualified purchases. Call today at 800-489-6450 or go to learrp.com for more information. All right, please go over to learrp.com, check out what they have to offer and see how you can get ahead financially. We're going to get into the first story of the day. I like to do a couple little quick stories and then we'll get into the main story, like I said, and then we'll get the call-in show popping. We'll see how many people calls in. I'll try to speak to everybody that I can. If we have a lot of people, we don't want this thing to be, super long-winded. So we'll do our best to, keep people, to a couple minutes or whatever, get an opportunity to speak your piece, and then give other people the opportunity to, join the stream as well. So let's get into the first story here. And speaking of Lear Capital and gold, down in Florida, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there is a proposal from the Florida CFO to allow gold and silver to become a currency in the state of Florida. Now, you guys know that we are no longer, our currency is no longer backed by the gold standard. And, we have this thing called fiat currency right now. But down in Florida, they're trying to figure out a way to allow gold and silver to become a currency. And it's pretty interesting, man. So we're going to check this video out here. Again, make sure you like the stream, share the stream with whoever needs to see this. Please make sure y'all hit the like button. And without further ado.
To use gold or silver to pay for things in Florida? That is something the chief financial officer is exploring. The Florida Department of Financial Services is doing a study to see if gold and silver could be brought back as a legal form of currency. Fox 13's Kylie Jones spoke to experts about what this could mean and if it's possible.
From cash to credit cards to Apple Pay, could there be a new way to pay at your fingertips?
I think a lot of Americans have been looking for some more independence.
Florida's chief financial officer, Jimmy Patronis, is launching a study to see if gold and silver can be used as a legal form of currency.
To me, it would be very difficult to make this happen on a day-to-day basis.
Right now, gold and silver can be bought as an investment, but can't be used to go shopping, buy groceries, or make big purchases. Sean Clark, a financial advisor, says the idea of gold-backed currency could help with inflation.
There's only a certain amount of gold. And so they typically work well in inflationary times just because as the price of things go up, so does the price of gold.
But he says it doesn't come without unique challenges.
You're gonna have to get businesses to buy in on this as well, and they're going to have to accept this type of gold or silver-backed currency.
Something that could be much harder than swiping a card or exchanging some coins.
I would think you'd have to have a specialist at every store and every register, and you'd have to test this stuff because obviously anything that has value, they'll fake everything.
Mark Bonnet works with gold and silver every day. He says gold currency is a good idea in theory, but
You have to know how much gold is in the bar, and then you have to have the gold spot, and then you have to know the percentage of what gold you can pay them out at.
financial advisors say technology could help monetize silver and gold eventually. These are some of the things the study would explore.
Having diversified way to pay for things is going to be nothing but a good thing. But do we see, credit cards and dollar bills going away anytime soon?
Nah.
My expectation would be no, not for a long time.
Kylie Jones, Fox 13 News.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about this, man? What do you guys think about Florida introducing gold and silver as a currency? What do you guys think about this, man? And shout out to Carrie. Appreciate you pulling up today. Definitely appreciate the support as well. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. So the Florida Chief Financial Officer, Jimmy Petronis, he wants to explore. This isn't happening yet, but they want to explore how they can make physical gold and silver a legal tender in the state. So the Florida Department of Financial Services, they're going to study how gold and silver bars and coins could be used to buy goods and services. Now, the one guy in the story there, he did mention you got to figure out who can test it because the counterfeiters are out there. People are going to try things. You already know. But the reason that that they're even thinking about this is that they think that gold and silver are stable alternatives to the fiat currency, such as the US dollar. And I would agree with that. And historically, gold and silver, it has been a trusted asset for thousands and thousands of years. And even to this day, it's holding or increasing their value, even during inflationary periods like we are in right now. Gold is actually seeing some highs right now. So it's an interesting thought process, interesting theory, and again, gold and silver, it's been a trusted asset. This isn't like something that just came about and people don't know anything about it. It's a trusted asset. And I think it's worth exploring. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know, how they'll make this work. I am not some, economic guru, so I can't speak to how they can actually do this in a safe and efficient way and make sure that companies aren't being scammed by potential counterfeiters and things of that nature. I'm sure they have to cross, a lot of T's and then dot a lot of I's to figure this out before this could happen. I would assume that this is something that may not even happen. It may not ever happen, or it may be 5 years, 10 years down the line before they could actually do something along these lines. So, but there's a lot of experts out there that they tend to think that gold and silver can be a hedge against inflation since the value rises with the cost of goods. And, a widespread adoption might be slow, but, and it probably won't replace, like he said, everyday credit cards and cash transactions anytime soon. But even to this day, it's a great asset to have, in your, I guess, portfolio or something along those lines, because, the price of gold has gone up tremendously over the past, probably 3 or 4 years now. And, so it'd be interesting. And the crazy thing is there's other states that are looking into this as well. Utah, South Carolina, Louisiana, and I believe Oklahoma, they've all passed laws allowing gold and silver to be used as legal tender. I'm not sure exactly how they're making that work. I didn't have time to do the research as to how they're doing it, but they've already passed laws. So this isn't something that, isn't already being done. You have other states currently doing this or attempting to implement this as we speak. And the US dollar, as T.A. Caskey so eloquently put in the chat, hasn't been backed by gold since 1971. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the Nixon era. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting thought process down there in Florida, and maybe it's something that, you know, we'll see in a state near you guys in the very near future. We're going to move on to the next story here. It's a little more morbid than this situation. I just ran across that story on Gold, and I just thought it was interesting, you know, especially, you know, with our sponsor here being a, you know, gold-based company. But I thought it was pretty interesting, man. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, but I gotta, yeah, you're right, TA. You're absolutely right there. But this next story, it's a little more morbid, but I felt like we need to talk about it. I don't know if you guys heard about the real estate tycoons down in, I believe they're in Florida as well, who were just arrested for some pretty heinous crimes. You guys got to see this right here. Check this out. Give me 1 second here. All right, there we go.
Local prominent realtors, the brothers are accused of drugging and raping women, and authorities say it was a family affair stretching into New York, too. Local 10's Christina Vasquez is live in Miami Beach with the chilling details. Christina.
And a warning, if you do have young ones at home or wherever you are watching this story will contain some sensitive information.
Yes, I probably should have said that. I did say it's a little morbid, but definitely some sensitive information. If you guys have some little ones, you know, they're listening, you might want to cover their ears, maybe have them go to another room, because this is it's pretty interesting.
Prosecutors are saying that these brothers had residences here in Miami Beach and New York, would frequently travel between them. They're now facing local charges and federal charges related to rape and sexual assault.
Some may be shocked or astonished as to why a person with so much would need to resort to committing a sexual assault.
We're real estate agents who focus on ultra luxury markets.
The Alexander brothers, Alon, Oren, and Tal, and their cousin, Ohad Fisherman, were men of wealth, privilege, and prestige who investigators and prosecutors in Miami-Dade.
Today we are one step closer to obtaining justice.
Use their fame, their money, their power to create opportunities to commit sexual crimes.
And federal prosecutors in New York.
Alon Alexander, Oren Alexander, and Tal Alexander with sex trafficking offenses.
That were also serial sexual predators.
We all want to thank the three brave women who courageously came forward.
The three brothers accused by federal investigators of repeatedly and violently drugging and raping dozens of female victims over the course of more than a decade. Arrested in Miami-Dade, luxury real estate brokers Alon and Oren, seen here being booked into TGK Correctional Center earlier today, also facing state charges. Fisherman is wanted on a charge related to holding a woman down in a Miami Beach residence in 2016 so Alon and Oren could take turns raping her.
The two brothers arguing about who was going to rape her first, as the victim cried and asked them not to do it.
Outside Alon's multi-million-dollar house in Miami Beach, a man in the area tells us he saw something strange unfolding here Monday night.
Women, they got delivered by different cars. They were all dressed like very nice, you know, like a high-class woman.
Miami-Dade State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle told us the investigation is ongoing.
If there are other victims and they're listening to these stories, that'll give them some sense of security to come forward.
Back out here live outside one of the multi-million-dollar homes owned by one of the brothers. Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office also thanking Miami Beach Police, a joint investigation with them. They were also assisted by FBI Miami. It is expected that the two brothers who were arrested today should appear before a bond court judge tomorrow morning. At last check, their cousin remains at large. Reporting live for you tonight in Miami Beach, I'm Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.
Had you guys heard about that story? Is this the first time that you guys are hearing about this? This is crazy. It is an evil world we live in. Goodness gracious. These guys, man, luxury real estate brokers, luxury real estate brokers. I mean, these guys are worth some money, worth some real money. And they're being charged right now with conspiracy to commit human trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And these are federal charges. You know, anytime you do anything trafficking wise, going across state lines, the feds are involved. They have a 99.9% conviction rate. So the likelihood of these dudes seeing the light of day is slim to none. Now, the cousin that's on the run, I would assume that they're going to catch him pretty quickly. And you know that these guys, they're not really about that life. They are going to tell. You know they're going to tell. They're going to do everything that they can to try to lower whatever sentence they're going to get. And I don't even know if that's going to help, because these dudes, not only should they be, you know, locked up forever, they probably should be under the jail forever. And these are pretty boys. So I don't know how they're going to fare in the federal penitentiary system. I really don't know. But one of the brothers, Tal Alexander, he faces an additional count of human trafficking. And then the prosecutors also allege that the brothers drugged, assaulted, and raped dozens of victims over more than a decade. So Eric Smith, you're absolutely right. When you said Diddy 2.0, absolutely right. Over a decade of doing this? Do you understand how evil you have to be to operate like this for over a decade? And the fact that they were able to get away with it for that long is just baffling. It's mind-boggling to me. This is crazy. You know, and for those of you guys that aren't familiar with these guys, Orrin Tall, their brothers, obviously co-founders of a high-end real estate firm, you know, that specialize in luxury properties in New York, Miami, and LA. So these dudes, these aren't broke dudes. These guys got some paper. They got some paper. So, but they're that money is not going to save them behind that wall. That money is not going to save them behind that wall. Somebody said, Bubba. Yeah. I don't even know if it's Bubba. It's going to be a couple of those guys. Probably jump on these guys, especially when they hear the charges that these dudes have been, you know, charged with. And I would assume they will be convicted because, like I said, the feds, they have a 99.9% conviction rate. Once they get you, most guys don't beat cases. You know, you just don't beat the feds. It just doesn't happen, you know? So that's interesting, man. Had you guys heard about this story? Goodness gracious, man. This is just awful, man. I feel sorry for the victims. Hopefully more victims will come forward and get their retribution and due process. I mean, this won't solve. It will not, I guess, alleviate, you know, any of the, you know, potential PTSD or, you know, mental anguish that they're dealing with from this ordeal, but at least it will help hopefully get them some closure and, you know, help prosecute these dudes to the fullest extent of the law, because Lord knows they need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And the New York Police Department Commissioner Jessica Tisch, she said that she described the allegations as heinous and dehumanizing. And that's exactly what it is. That is exactly what this was. Goodness gracious, man. You know what, BT? I was going to talk about that today. Biden, he pardoned like 1,500 people or so. I just didn't have the time to take the time to do some research on who he pardoned. I just heard he pardoned 1,500 people. I didn't hear about that though. So I'm gonna have to do some research. Maybe that's something that I'll jump on, you know, next week. But this is crazy. Goodness gracious, man. Crazy. We're gonna take a quick break. And I want you guys to check out, man. This is one of the guys who watched the channel. We'll take a quick break. We're gonna come right back. But check out Teflon Coated by Response C. And
Coming leader of the free world. He's going to ring the bell here in about 20 seconds. An historic moment at the New York Stock Exchange as we get this opening bell rung by the president-elect, Donald Trump.
Goodness gracious, man. Goodness gracious, man. Wow. What a day in Trump world. What a day, man. We've got so much winning to talk about right now, man. You know that meme? Well, Trump said it, but it turned into a meme. Do you guys recall that? We're going to win so much that you'll actually get tired of winning. You guys recall that? I don't know about y'all, man, but I am not tired yet. Please keep it coming, Mr. President. Please. Anyway, let's kick things off with the big news. Donald J. Trump not only rang the bell today at the New York Stock Exchange, only the second president to ever do so ever. You'd have to go back to 1985. Ronald Reagan was the first and last until today to ring that bell. And again, like I said, you'd have to go back to 1985. 1985, man. I think I might have been in the first grade if I'm not mistaken. So Trump, he was over at Wall Street earlier today, and the crowd went crazy. This is New York City, man. These folks in there chanting. They're in there chanting. But not only, did that happen, Time Magazine also named him Person of the Year for 2024. For the second time. Trump gets named Person of the Year in 2024. 6 months ago, people thought he was down and out. For a second time, this dude wins it or gets it. So Trump wakes up this morning as the man of the year and goes on to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. And let me tell you guys, hey, January 20th is right around the corner, but Trump is back. And the cover goes hard. Red tie, the confident alpha stance, and the look that says, oh yeah, I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Let's take a quick look at it.
Majority of Americans, 54%, say they
time. He is Time Magazine's Person of the Year. To me, there are other contenders, but if they did anything but name him, that would be flat out biased.
Well, so Time.com has just released that, and I'm looking at the actual article, and it's great. It said, and the subheadline is, if what comes next is anything like what he promises, Trump will reshape the nation and the world. And that is why so many people, according to polls, which we're going to get into very shortly, people are really optimistic about the next 4 years. Look, over the last 4 years, things have not gone well. And people are ready for something new, something better.
Folks are definitely looking for something new and something better. Absolutely. He beat Kamala not just once, but twice. And I mean, Tom's did do Trump dirty in the past. But even they can't ignore his monumental comeback. 2 assassination attempts, numerous sham trials, convictions, a mugshot that's plastered on T-shirts that folks are selling for $20 a pop. The entire establishment has been against him, and none of it stuck. It's like, how was this even a competition? I got to give credit where credit is due. I don't see how Trump could have chosen anyone else. And sure, there were some good contenders. Elon, Joe, the Princess of Wales, Kamala. I'm just kidding. There's no way that Times was going to choose Kamala. There was absolutely no way. Even with all the help from the leftist media. I mean, this lady completely crashed and burned. She didn't even flip one county in the state, and it's completely hilarious. Now, I'm not going to read the article. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you guys, but because, it's a long one, but Time had no choice but to choose Trump. They had to crown him because, well, the numbers don't lie. He didn't just win the 2024 election. Dude completely crushed it. Trump flipped every key swing state, dominated the popular vote, the first Republican to do so in 2 decades, and built a coalition that transcends race, gender, and age. Latino men up 41%. Black men up 13 points. Even young voters, the elusive 18 to 29 demographic, even they swung towards Trump by 8 points this time around. This wasn't just a victory. This was a seismic shift of epic proportion. They wasn't ready for it. And let's not forget how far Trump has come. I'm not going to lie to you. This campaign, in comparison to the last one, this was hands down, this was the better of the 3 campaigns. This is the best this time around. But just months ago, the media was gleefully declaring him in trouble, with every headline trying to write his political obituary. They said he was done after the Mar-a-Lago raid. They said the indictments would sink him. They said voters would abandon him. And fast forward to today, Thursday, December 12th, 2024, and you got Trump in New York City, one of the bluest cities you can find in the country, and you got people chanting USA. 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 Really? In New York City? That was defund the police land? Really? These people are chanting USA at the stock exchange. We're ringing in a new era here. We're ringing in a new era right now. With America, America is back on track and everyone is loving it. You better take advantage of the opportunities that are going to present themselves in the very, very near future. You better take advantage of the opportunity. Even if you did not vote for President Trump and you still in your feelings, just know he's doing it for everybody and the opportunities will be for everybody. Go take advantage of it. But anyway, here we are in the wake of some pretty epic victories, and you might be thinking, okay, but what does America think about this? Well, I want to dive in real quick into something that's turning heads. It's a CNN poll. And yes, you heard me correctly, a CNN poll. And even they can't ignore the overwhelming support Trump is getting right now. They can't ignore it. Check this out, man.
A majority of Americans, 54%, say they expect him to do a good job as president. And we asked specifically, do you have confidence in all of these areas about how Trump will perform and his ability to handle it? And once again, as we saw throughout the campaign, the economy is issue number 1 of his strength. 65%, 2/3 of Americans in this poll say they have some or a lot of confidence in Trump's ability to manage and handle the economy as president. And you see Russia, Ukraine followed there, then immigration, and his leadership skills, his what he intends to use his power for, whether that'll be responsibly not, a bit lower. But again, all of this is majority support. So that is where things stand right now.
And shout out to UTA, January 20th. Come on now, 45? Okay, I'm a little older than you. I just turned 45 2 Saturdays ago. I was on vacation. That was one of the things. I like to go on vacation, on my birthday. I just turned 45 myself, man. So, hey, we'll make sure that I'm sure we'll be live that day. I'm for certain we'll be live. If I'm not mistaken, January 20th is Inauguration Day. So what's going on, Lonnie? How you doing today, brother? But, man, can you guys imagine the sheer pain that's being caused to these folks right now, having to announce this on CNN? And appreciate you, Eric Smith. Appreciate the birthday love. I appreciate it. But this poll, man, what it shows is that Americans are not just okay with Trump's transition moves. They're overwhelmingly supportive. This isn't just a blip on the radar. This is a massive shift in public sentiment. People are seeing through the noise, the bias, and the constant narrative against Trump. They're seeing through all of that. And they're making up in their own minds what makes sense for them. So what does all this mean right now? What does it mean? What it means is that Trump's message of America first isn't just catching on. It has caught on. It's like a wildfire in a dry forest. And I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say that, especially with what's going on out there on the West Coast. I probably shouldn't say that. That's probably a bad analogy there with everything going on. I know they got wildfires, going on out in California. So, and bless those people, man. I hope they get this, get that fire contained ASAP. But the people are tired of the media's games, the political correctness, and all the foreign policy that seems to benefit everyone but us. People in America want jobs. We want security. And we want leaders who aren't afraid to say what most of us are already thinking. And the establishment knows they're in trouble right now. They can see the writing on the wall. They feel the ground shaking under their feet. And now they're scrambling big time. Look at Christopher Wray, the FBI director himself. I mean, he just announced he'll step down. Trump don't have to fire him. He'll step down. I couldn't believe it. I was surprised to see that. This dude, I thought he was going to fight tooth and nail, but he decided not to do so. It's pretty much like this dude is saying, you know what? You got me. You got me. Time for me to exit stage left before this whole thing comes crashing down all around me. And you know what? Good riddance to the guy. The push to reform the FBI isn't going anywhere, and it's why we're fighting so hard for Kash Patel. He's not there to play games. He's not there to play games. And now, with the public sentiment shifting like a tectonic plate, even the top FBI brass, they're feeling the heat. They're feeling the heat big time. It's clear that when America speaks, even the most powerful institutions, they have to listen. But naturally, not everyone, the usual suspects, well, they're not happy with all this winning. The media is losing its collective minds over this. And I mean, obviously, they're not going to make it easy for Trump to enact his agenda. The agenda that the American people overwhelmingly voted for. It's ridiculous. But, it wouldn't be mainstream media, especially the leftist mainstream media. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be right, if they didn't push back.
Marks the end of what was a delicate dance for Christopher Wray, where he tried for years to keep the FBI away from partisan politics and stay off of Donald Trump's enemies list, even as the FBI was running investigations of Mr. Trump. During the first Trump presidency, Wray had managed to avoid the worst of Trump's criticisms. Those were directed at special counsel Robert Mueller, who supervised a special team of FBI agents investigating whether Mr. Trump conspired with Russia or obstructed justice. And then during the Biden presidency, Mr. Wray really couldn't avoid crossing Donald Trump. He oversaw a massive FBI investigation, as everyone remembers, of thousands of people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, and also the investigations into Mr. Trump's role in the effort to overturn the election in 2020 and into his handling of classified documents. Director Wray, of course, approved the FBI search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago compound in 2022, and that's something Mr. Trump never forgot. In fact, he brought that search up over the weekend in his interview with NBC's Kristen Welker when he said that Mr. Wray, quote, invaded my home, and he added, quote, I'm very unhappy with the things that he's done. Mr. Trump.
He should be unhappy. He should be unhappy.
Also made clear he was annoyed when Chris Wray a few months ago questioned in a congressional hearing whether Mr. Trump actually was hit by a bullet during that assassination attempt against him. Wray later clarified that it was either a bullet or bullet fragments that struck Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump said in that interview that he had a lot of respect for the FBI, but the FBI's respect, he said, had gone way down over the last number of years. And he's right about that. Polls show that around half of Americans don't trust the FBI, although trust is higher among Democrats than Republicans. But perhaps no one is more to blame for that than Mr. Trump himself, who has baselessly accused the Bureau of conducting witch hunts against him. In fact, outside reviews found that the FBI had ample reason to open its investigation into whether the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia in 2016. And of course, the FBI uncovered significant evidence of wrongdoing in the January 6th classified documents investigations, which led grand juries of citizens in Washington, D.C. and Florida to vote to indict Mr. Trump. Christopher Wray was appointed FBI director by Mr. Trump in June of 2017 after Mr. Trump abruptly fired then Director James Comey in a
Y'all notice he keeps calling him Mr. Trump instead of President Trump?
controversial move that, of course, resulted in the naming of special counsel Robert Mueller to investigate whether Trump obstructed justice and conspired with Russia. And that was only the second time in history that an FBI director had been fired before serving a full 10-year term. Mr. Trump has now essentially engineered the third such ouster.
Nonpartisan, huh? Goodness gracious, man. These guys have zero shame. Baseless accusations of corruption and weaponization at the FBI. Really? Baseless? So under Wray, the FBI wasn't just investigating Trump. It was targeting him, his associates, and they were spying on religious groups, labeling them as potentially extremists. Moms for Liberty. You guys remember them? Y'all remember Moms for Liberty? Remember how the FBI went after them because, God forbid, parents stand up for their right to know what's being taught in the schools. Pro-life activists. Remember the FBI's raid on Mark Hoke, a pro-life activist, dragging him out of his home in front of his children over a minor altercation at a pregnancy termination clinic. And don't even get me started on J6. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole right now. But they used it as a club against anyone who thought maybe, just maybe, the election had some hinky stuff going on. I mean, you've got folks who walked into the Capitol, right? They didn't even break in. Some were even invited in by police. We all watched the videos. But they get slapped with charges like obstructing an official proceeding, a pretty grave charge. And then there are those who've been locked up for a long time now at this point, some of them 3-4 years, without a trial. Think about that. Locked up without a trial, without a court date. That's the Democratic way. That's what they do. You got people down in Fulton County right now, in Fannie Willis's county, been in jail for 2 and 3 years without a court date. What happened to the right to a fast and speedy trial? What happened to that? And the DOJ IG report just dropped today as well. The report found that the FBI had 26 undercover assets at the Capitol on J6. That's what the report said. That's what the report said. That's not coming from me. The report said that. And it's just funny. It's funny how that works, right? Wray resigns a day before this drops. He gets up out of there a day before that report comes out. So yeah, we all should be glad to see him go. It's about daggone time. And this is another massive win for Trump, for the MAGA party, because of the media's response, the media reaction. And that's how you know that this is a good thing. That's how you know.
Start with you. Leaving at the end of a current president's term is the opposite of what the 10-year service window is about. And we've covered the cross pressures on the FBI, but I wonder what it is like for the workforce to see their leader leave.
I think it's going to be very difficult, and I'm very disappointed that Director Wray decided to resign. I think Director Wray has carried out his responsibilities with integrity, professionalism during very difficult and challenging times over the last 7 years, and he was appointed to a 10-year term, and he accepted a 10-year term. And right now, his decision to leave tends to legitimize what Donald Trump is doing in terms of appointing someone else. I don't think it would be any problem if he stayed in place and had Donald Trump remove him. I mean, that certainly is a president's prerogative, even though there is a 10-year term on the FBI director role. But by doing this, I do think it's going to leave the men and women of the FBI sort of wondering what their future is going to look like, particularly if somebody like Kash Patel, a real sycophant of Donald Trump, is actually going to get through the confirmation process. So although I respect Director Wray, and I'm sure that his decision was based on how he evaluated the impact on the Bureau and the workforce, I just think that was a decision that should not have been made at this point, and he should have stayed through the transition to the new administration.
These people still think that they're sitting at the daggone cool table. They still think they're at the cool kids table, even though everyone's moved on to another party. It's unbelievable, man. These people are so out of touch. They're so out of touch. Basically throwing a wake for Christopher Wray. And this guy, former CIA director John Brennan, this dude's a character. He's a character to say the least. A man who's lied so much is now on MSNBC or MSDNC, as I like to call him, pining for Wray. He's all like, oh, the integrity, the professionalism, as if Wray was some paragon of virtue or something. But here's the thing. Brennan, like the rest of them, is terrified. They're terrified that Kash Patel, they're terrified of someone who will go in and ask, well, what the heck has been going on around here? And someone that's going to go in and clean the mess up. They're terrified of getting exposed, and they're terrified of someone coming in and cleaning up their mess and calling them out on it. If you need more proof of why we need change, a changing of the guards at this point, if you need more proof, you got the FBI, the Defense Department, the White House, all these big supposedly competent agencies, and they don't know why there are drones apparently as big as SUVs flying over New Jersey. We talked about this yesterday. Oh, we saw some drones, but we're not sure why they're there. Wait, you're not sure why they're there? You mean you're telling me that with all the surveillance, all the tech at their disposal, they can't figure out what a bunch of drones are doing in our airspace? And let's be clear, not only over our airspace, but over an area like Bedminster, where our incoming president resides for half the year. And you're telling me the United States of America has got no clue about what the heck is going on up there. New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew was on the Harris Faulkner show the other day talking about the situation. And let's listen to this for a second.
Focus now. Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen.
Iranian drones? Really? So if that's the case, one, it's scary as all get out that they're allowing this to happen. But you gotta be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. And we know that Iran, we know that they bought Chinese drones, that they've been collaborating on military technology. And if these drones are a part of that, that is a game changer. And if it's true, why are we allowing this to happen? Why have we not sent up the F-15s to go shoot these things down? Why hasn't that happened? Why have we not scrambled on these things? Why? Like, if these drones are really from Iran, it's a massive security breach. It's a massive security breach. And it's a slap in the face to the U.S. sovereignty. But let's not jump to conclusions here, because there's another angle here that's probably worth considering as well. Like, what if this is all just some psyop? What if it's just a psyop of some sort? And you're telling me no one knows what these things are, where they're coming from, and why they're here? The Pentagon says there's no, Iranian or Iranian mothership. That's what the Pentagon says. But Van Drew says something different. Everyone's got a different story. And these drones, they're showing up right now, right as Trump prepares to take office. Now, imagine this. Imagine this. I don't want to sound like some conspiracy theorist out here, but create a scenario where the public is scared, the media's in a frenzy, and Trump's agenda gets sidelined. I mean, it's a classic playbook. Sow confusion, instill fear, and watch as the focus shifts from domestic policy to international threats. Now, like I said, I don't want to sound like some conspiracy theorist out here. I'm not some whack job, nut job out here, but could this be a setup? Could this be a setup? Could this be an establishment stunt? A foreign operation meant to destabilize, this incoming administration? Could it be that? I mean, as someone that served in the military, as someone that's been on an aircraft carrier, I don't know how much you guys don't know, but I was an air traffic controller in the military. We have these up and down our East Coast. We have these warning zones up and down the East Coast. Now, I don't know how high or low, obviously these things are flying pretty low, so I would assume that they're probably flying VFR. So they're flying under what a quote unquote, what the radar could probably pick up. And that's maybe why, maybe some of the, air traffic control facilities, especially the military air traffic control facilities. Trust me, we have a few of them on the East Coast. I actually worked at one of them back in the day. Why they haven't picked it up? Why have nobody said anything? Why have the F-15s not been scrambled from Langley to shoot these things down? It's right up the road. It's right up the road. Why hasn't this happened yet? And the thing is, like I said yesterday, I heard about this story 9 days ago. They said that this has been going on since mid-November. Since mid-November. So, and it's still happening. That's the crazy thing. It's one thing like, oh, there was a sighting, they're gone. It's still happening. There's been sightings all the way as far south as North Carolina. What the heck is going on? You have to ask yourself this, man. You have to ask yourself, who benefits from this chaos if what I said, again, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not. But if what I said is true, who benefits from this? Who benefits from the chaos? And where's the leadership on this? Governor Phil Murphy's response is as useless as you'd expect. He says, we don't know what they are. Wait, you are the daggone governor. You have the National Guard. They got Air National Guard. What the heck is going on here, man? This dude said he don't know what they are and claims that the drones go dark the moment they're spotted. What? It doesn't even make sense. I mean, isn't it his job to try to figure this out? And even the FBI, they've admitted that they have no idea what's going on. How is this acceptable? In 2024, with all the daggone technology that we have, we got satellites that can literally look down on you in your neighborhood right now. But we can't figure out, where these drones are coming from and why they've breached into, not through the Warner Zone, because the Warner Zone is about, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time, so don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, there is a warning zone off the coast of the United States, east and west. I think the warning zone goes out about probably maybe 50 to 100 miles or so off the coast. And there are people that monitor these warning zones up and down the coastline 24/7. I know this for a fact. I've actually done it myself. I know this is happening. How is this acceptable, man? These drones are popping up near critical infrastructure, military bases, and President Trump's home. I mean, if this isn't a coordinated effort to create chaos, I don't know what is. Hey, again, I could just be a conspiracy theorist here, and maybe it's something else. Maybe it's some hobbyists out there who happen to own drones that are the size of an SUV. Everybody I know that owns a drone, they own a small drone. Everybody I know that owns a drone. One of my best friends is a drone operator. And the drone that he has, it's not a drone the size of a damn small plane. Excuse my language. It just isn't. But some people suggest that this could be a pretext for launching a conflict, potentially dragging the United States into a war with Iran before Trump even gets sworn in. So imagine the narrative here. A so-called attack or incident blamed on these drones, forcing the government into emergency measures. Does that sound familiar to you guys? But this is where we come in at, though. We're winning. But we can't take our eyes off the prize, and we can't fall asleep at the wheel. Trump, he has always stood strong against the establishment and their schemes, and this moment is no different. These drones, like so many other attacks on him, are a reminder of how desperate his enemies are. But let's hope that no drone, no establishment stunt, and no foreign adversary will stop him or the movement that he represents. We can't lose sight of the big picture here. We just can't. We're winning, but things are going great, but we can't forget about these, establishment actors out there. They tried to derail him the last time, and I'm sure they're going to try again. But the momentum right now, it's on our side, and let's do our best to keep marching on. Very, very interesting, man. Very interesting. And the fact that the president hasn't spoken on this yet, that concerns me as well. That concerns the heck out of me. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for anybody that would like to call up today. I'd love to speak with you guys. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in about 90 seconds or so.
Look outside the window, see the world on fire. People screaming freedom, but they're preaching to the choir. My heart feels heavy, but my soul stays high. Living for the truth, not the gains of a liar. In this game of life, everyone's a player. But how many truly live without a slayer? Trying to find the light while walking through the layers. Real talk, no filter, no overused prayers. We're chasing dreams in a restless land, holding tight to visions with an open hand, breaking all the chains, taking our stand. Life's a righteous ride, we've got it all planned. They sell us dreams dressed in glittery clothes, yet the wisest ones know how the story goes. Filtered truths and lies wrapped in golden bows. We rise above the noise where the freedom flows. Entertainment fills the screens, but what's real?
All right, we are back, and it looks like we have Eric Smith in the building. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull you up, sir. What's going on, Eric? How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I cannot complain, man. I'm blessed and highly favored. Appreciate you pulling up to the stream today. Appreciate you joining the ARP family, man. I appreciate you supporting me, man. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. I think you have. I think you really got something good going here.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. We're building the plane as we fly it, so I'm still, getting used to this, and it's a lot of work. I'll tell you that much. It is a lot of work, but I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy, just getting the feedback from you guys, man. So appreciate you pulling up. What you got for us today?
All right. Okay. So this time I took some notes so I can kind of stay focused because I kind of have a little bit of anxiety here and there. So there was a Chinese citizen that was caught several days ago, and he was flying a drone over Vandenberg Space Force Base there in California.
Oh, wow.
And then he was arrested at the San Francisco airport. I had taken some notes down about some of the comments that Jeff Van Drew had made, and the Pentagon claiming this is not a threat. I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so I did see some interesting videos on Twitter, and I'm sure probably other people have probably seen them by now, but there was a really interesting one, and it really seemed legit. It didn't seem like it was made up just because of the response that I was hearing in the background of the people watching this event. But one of these drones had this flame, this this really long flame coming out of the top of it, and it was slowly lowering down, and I thought that was pretty wild. And so I've also got some theories okay, so the Chinese they do have a drone called the Luong. It's spelled L-O-O-N-G. And when I look at some of these drones in these videos, of course it's hard to tell because all you see are kind of like the lights and they're dark. But those Luongs, I feel like these drones kind of have a similar shape to the Luongs, those Chinese drones. I've also heard some things that I guess the Coast Guard claimed that a while back that they were chased by possibly 20 or 30 drones. And the Coast Guard claimed that it seemed like these drones almost came up out of the water. So I'm like, whoa, Yeah, that's some pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And to stop you for a quick second, one of my buddies, he mentioned a potential, and he was just kind of spitballing, but we were talking about this on Sunday, and he said that submarines could house these things.
Oh, really?
And now that you say
neat.
what you said, it just immediately, because he was like, yeah, they could be in submarines, submerged. So they're not, the mothership is not some floating vessel. It's
Right.
He was thinking that it was something that was underwater, and these things are coming up from a submarine of some sort.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's new to me. Like, because when I thought of a mothership, I was literally thinking of some sort of like a carrier or something like that.
Same thing.
Yeah. And so I got one more thing because I know other people want to talk to. So then this kind of got my curiosity going. So the US, we're working on a new type of 6th generation fighters, like fighter jets. And like, as you know, like the F-35, it can, it doesn't have to land on an airport. It can, what's that called when they can, land?
Oh, it's called VSTOL, vertical short takeoff and landing. So
Yeah,
it doesn't need a long runway. It can literally just basically hover its way back down and land.
Okay, yeah. And so they're coming with these 6th generation fighters, supposedly that will kind of have like these neural links, and it'll have this sort of like quantum interpretive AI. Now, a lot of people that think of quantum, they think of quantum physics, and they think of like Schrodinger's cat, but this is more like quantum computing, because in the normal computing world, like everything tends to be in binary, like in ones and zeros, but with quantum and computing, you can have ones and zeros at the same time. So these AIs with this quantum computing will almost be able to sort of like already know what the pilot is thinking, so to speak, before the pilot kind of makes a decision, because there'll be like these neural links and stuff. And so I'm just wondering, like, if it's us out there messing around and doing little experiments and doing stuff with neural links, and like maybe
that does make sense, because they were saying that there are a lot of countries out there, obviously China, with the drones, but a human pilot can't react fast enough if they found themselves in a dogfight in the air against a drone.
Right.
So if you had a human pilot, you still would want to you don't want to have something that's unmanned, although we do have a ton of unmanned aircraft out there. Obviously, you see Obama's administration. Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. But they would prefer, the preference would be to have man inside of these aircraft, but it makes complete sense if they can think and the plane just reacts, opposed to think and then you have to react.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it was really interesting, this kind of road that I went down with these 6th generation fighters. Oh, one more thing. So one of the drone photos was kind of interesting. Like I do kind of come from a Christian background, but let me rephrase that. Like my parents, like pretty much just taught me like the basic essentials of Christianity. They didn't go really in depth into stuff or anything like that. So I'm not like one of those hardcore Christians kind of a thing, or I'm not even like a Christian nationalist, but one of the drone videos, it kind of looked like one of those angelic angels, like the Ophanim. You know, the Ophanim with the spinning, the multiple spinning rings, spinning wheels.
Mm-hmm.
One of the drone photos kind of looked like an Ophanim.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're like, man, that's kind of weird. Why did I bring that up? Okay. I'm just throwing that out there. So
that's interesting. Interesting. I mean, I just find it quite peculiar that hardly no one's talking about this.
Well, I just, like with the holidays and everything, and I think still kind of coming off the Trump high, I wasn't really aware either. I was just kind of like, nah, like, and then it was like until you brought it to attention. And then when you were saying that they were flying over like military bases, and then the Pentagon saying, oh, even though they're flying over these military bases, it's not a threat. Then I'm like, then my ears start to perk up and I go, wait a minute. I mean, now I wasn't in the Navy, but in the Army, if you approach a gate, an Army base gate, through a roadway, if you approach the gate wrong, you're going to get shot up. But all of a sudden, these drones flying over a military base, oh, that's no big deal.
And it's not a big deal. Like, come on now. Seriously.
Right. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's very crazy. And like I said, I was on vacation, and during that time frame, I just spent a lot of time reading and just researching and stuff like that. And I came across a video And like I said, it was about 9 days ago or so, maybe 10 days at this point. And I send it to my buddies that we talk and we have these types of conversations. We get together to watch football, but we end up talking about a bunch of other things and the game is kind of in the background.
Right.
And I had sent it to them because we have this text string, this little text group that we have. And I said, I was like, hey, have y'all seen this? And they're like, no. And we're always talking about these little conspiracy things that could happen and, trying to make sure that you're as prepared as you can possibly be for, ish hitting the fan.
Yeah.
And I just found it weird. And then I was like, after I watched that and I sent it to them and I started doing some more research and there wasn't a whole lot until this week. It started to pick some leg, grab some legs and it started to move a little bit.
Right.
So and that's when I decided, I was like, because at first I was like, well, maybe it's just some people flying drones, because there's a ton of people that own drones.
Right.
Tons of them. And at that time, it wasn't a lot of information in the sense of how big these things were.
Yeah.
Once you find out that these things are the size of small cars and SUVs, I'm like, okay, these aren't drones that regular people own.
These are like military grade drones. Like
these are military grade.
Like I said, it's either us or it could be Iran or like I said, like some of these drones, they look like they're in the shape of those long. Like I said, the spelling throws me off. Like those long
I'm gonna have to
drones.
do some research on that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
LOONG, long drones or something like that. Like I probably sound like an idiot repeating that, but yeah. So that's about it really. So, but so thanks for having me on. I know other people want to probably jump on too. So
yeah, hopefully so. But I appreciate you, Eric, pulling up. Second time, you guys are going to be a superstar out here in these YouTube streets. All right, man. I appreciate you pulling up, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Anybody else, man? We don't have anybody else in the queue right now, but if you would like to pull up, I'd love to speak with you. The link should be pinned in the chat. So, check that out. It should be at the top there, pinned in there. Come on, Ed, jump on here for a second. If you not camera shy, like I said, you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. But yeah, man, it's pretty interesting to say the least. What's going on there, and the fact that there's folks aren't really talking about it should be a concern to everybody. To be honest with you, should be a concern. All right, so we're only gonna have one person call up. I'm gonna drop the link one more time, see if we get anybody else that's willing to show up. If not, we'll wrap the show for the day. And, hopefully you guys will have a great Friday and a great weekend. Like I said, we will not have a live show tomorrow. We'll kick things back up on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll do 7:30. And typically we're 7:30 to 8:39, somewhere in that range, depending on what's going on. And, depending on, what I find out here in these internet streets, man. But I appreciate you guys pulling up as always and supporting the channel. I appreciate the new people that have joined the ARP family. There's been a few folks recently, and I want to make sure that I show those people some love. Give me 1 second here. We got Redefined Queen who joined. We got CB Wright who joined. Eric Smith who joined recently. So shout out to them for supporting the channel in that way. We had Jay Watson who rejoined. Appreciate you. Bold and Beautiful, she joined a couple of days ago, and Jeffrey Theisen joined a couple of days ago as well. Definitely appreciate those. Appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me for a long time. We got some folks that's been, supporting the channel for, 4 or 5 months now. I think since I've had a channel membership. So I definitely appreciate you guys supporting me in that way. T.A. Caskey, absolutely. We'll go ahead and get out of here, man. I hope you guys have a great, productive Friday. Be safe out there. And then enjoy the weekend. There's not a whole lot going on this weekend. It's going to be cold out here, where I live at. So normally I like to at least go get around the golf in on a Saturday, but it's probably going to be a little too cold to get out there and do that, man. But I appreciate you guys pulling up. This has been a great first week of doing this. If y'all have any questions, any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you guys. There's emails in the description box, so don't hesitate. Shoot me an email. My feelings will not be hurt if you say, "Oh, Wise, you suck. You need to do this." I'm okay with that. I'll take constructive criticism. I got pretty thick skin. You don't do this and not have pretty thick skin. Trust me, people, especially the keyboard gangsters, they will tell you what they feel via a text. Please make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out the building. Please make sure that you share the stream as well on your way out the building. I appreciate everybody that pulled up this Thursday. Again, shout out to you, Lonnie. Lonnie's been rocking with me for a long time, man, and I appreciate you, brother. I do. Ed Smith, appreciate you pulling up today. Eric Smith, I'm sorry. Ed Maurer, he's been rocking with me for a long time. I appreciate you pulling up today as well. And we'll go ahead and wrap the stream, man. We're going to get out of here, man. Again, stay prayed up out here, man. It is crazy out here in these streets. It is crazy. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe. I'm going to catch up with you guys next week. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.